YouTube? This is Skynet Jen, and today I'm going to be reviewing Salem Season 2, Episode 1, called Cry Havoc. So for those of you who have not seen the series, it is a drama series on WGN America about the Salem witch trials. I'm going to do a little recap on what happened in Season 1 for those of you who did not see the first season. So there's this woman named Mary who is seeing this guy named John Alden. They have a thing for each other. He ends up going to war. There's a war going on between the Puritans and the Indians. He never comes back, so she's left alone. And being a woman during this time is not, being alone is not a good thing. Women didn't have any say in anything. They didn't have any power. They needed a manly figure in their lives to protect them and to, put food on the table, shelter, and clothing. Otherwise, where would she go? So she ends up marrying this guy named George, who is the mayor of the town. He has a thing for her, even though he's like twice her age. And she hates the guy. She can't wait to kill him or something, but she can't do it. And he knows that she hates her. So one day she's approached by this witch, and she's told all this stuff about her because she can gain power and all this other stuff. And she's like, sure, where do I sign up? And she decides to become a witch. Now, at this time, she's also pregnant with John Alden's baby. And when John Alden went to war, he didn't really know that she was pregnant. In fact, she was waiting for him to come back from the war to tell him that she was pregnant. And he obviously never came back, so she never told him. So she went in the woods with these witches. They turned her into a witch. She ended up losing the baby. She eventually got over that. So now she's this witch. She goes back. First thing she does, puts a frog down her husband's throat. Yeah, sounds weird, but she did it. To shut him up, so she would be able to have power. Because in these town meetings, the mayor speaks. Since he can't speak, he has a frog down his throat, she's speaking for him. Everyone thinks he's paralyzed. And she's speaking for him, and that's what she wants everyone to think is going on. That she's speaking for him, because obviously if she said, I'm the new mayor, no one's going to follow a female mayor. It's not going to happen. So she's like, oh, I'm speaking on his behalf. So she's controlling him, and she's fooling everyone into thinking that she has control, pretty much taking advice from her husband, who's telling her somehow, no one's questioning that, how is he talking to her if he's paralyzed? But pretty much they don't question it, and she is in control. She's a witch, but she's running the town, and she's telling everyone that she's gonna capture these witches. And this guy named Cotton Mather, he's a priest, is trying to help her and capture these witches. Little do they know that she's a freaking witch. So, along this whole entire time, all these people are being sentenced because obviously if she doesn't bring any witches, people are going to start questioning her. They're like, why isn't there any justice going on around here? Why aren't we capturing witches? So this is kind of calming everyone down. There's no witches, we're finally catching them. There's not that many of them, probably. So, all these innocent people are being hung. And if you pretty much say you're not a witch, you're getting hung. Unless you confess. You either confess or you die. There's no, oh, I'm not a witch, and, oh yeah, we believe you. No, you're getting killed. So eventually John Alden comes back. She is surprised to see him. Everyone thinks he's this hero. Little did we know that during the war he passed out and got taken in by these Indians. These Indians were seen as savages, and pretty much, they were seen as pagans. Puritans saw Indians as pagans, and they thought, if we don't kill them, they're gonna kill us. So when John Alden passes out during the war and gets taken in by the Indians, Puritans would never believe that this would happen, that the Indians would actually help John Alden and nurse them back to health and just let him go. But that's actually what ended up happening. They let him go. So when he came back, I mean, obviously they didn't question where... I mean, I think they thought, where was this guy all this time? For 3 years or whatever, however long he was gone? But they don't question it. They see him as a hero. He doesn't say anything about the Indians. Eventually, they find out, so he's seen as this traitor, and at the same time, he is seen as being a witch. He's pretty much he was at the wrong place at the wrong time. He's seen as being a witch. So let me backtrack a little bit. While he was gone, there was this girl who was possessed and by this witch, and she's pretty much one of these witches' puppets. She's trying to prove to everyone that she has control of the town and that she can control all the witches. That there's no need to worry, that all the witches are under control. So they're using this girl named Mercy Lewis as a puppet. And what ends up happening is that this Mercy Lewis ends up going from being a victim to actually wanting to become an actual witch. So she's a girl who went from being possessed by a witch to actually she actually broke the curse or the spell against her, the enchantment against her of being a witch, and she tried to kill Mary, the witch. But then she's like, wait a minute, I want to become a witch. I want to be like Mary and have all this power, because remember, women don't have power. And all these women want to become witches. If you watch the show, all these women want to become witches. Well, all these young girls want to become witches because they think it's cool. They want power. It's something they crave for some reason. So she wants to become a witch. She kind of tutors her. She never really makes her a witch, I don't think. I don't remember. So yeah, there's that. So she starts hanging around in the woods, trying to get people to come with, all these teenage girls to come with her and start doing these rituals, trying to make them witches, even though she's not really a witch herself. And whatever, they're doing their little weird thing in the woods. And also there's another girl who we find out is told by her parents that she is a witch. And she doesn't believe it, but eventually she finds out the hard way. She is not able to control her powers and she ends up killing her parents. So back to John Alden. John Alden is then, since he's thought of being a witch, wrong place, wrong time, and that's not the place you want to be. You don't want to be caught. You don't want to be seen being a witch. I mean, one person says, I think he's a witch. Everyone doesn't question whether the fact that the person said, I think he's a witch. They just say he's a witch. So pretty much, even if you say it and people, when you're like, kind of have doubts and you say it, that doesn't matter. If the word witch comes out of your mouth and you're pointing at someone, that person you're pointing at is dead. And they end up having a trial, and Mary tries to protect him because she loves him, and they end up trying to sentence him to death, and that's how season 1 ends. We don't really know if he's executed or not. So which leads me to season 2, episode 1. We see that Mary goes to see a spirit guy because she knows that people said that he's been killed, but she doesn't believe it. So the spirit guy is like, bring something of him to me that he owned. So she does. She brings him his shirt. He ends up having this vision of where John Alden is located. He passes the vision on to her. She sees him on a lake being burned alive, and she realizes he's dead. We then flash forward to a scene in the woods in a village with these Indians. And there's this woman there who is approached by a chief, and he tells her pretty much, we have successfully blocked the witch's vision. So they knew. Well, they didn't know, but they blocked the witch's vision as if they knew that she was gonna go to this vision guy and ask where John Alden is located. And then eventually we learn that John Alden is alive, and then he actually told the Indians that Mary's gonna be looking for him, try to block her. She's gonna go to this vision guy that she knows, block her vision, make her think that I'm dead. So they cast some of these spells, and they pretty much interfere Mary's vision, and she thinks he's dead. But in reality, he is plotting. He is plotting to come back to Salem and kill all the witches in Salem. And I'm guessing including her, even though he loves her, I think. But he's sick and tired of these witches, so he's gonna kill them all. Whew. And so some intense stuff going on there. Meanwhile, this girl who killed her parents, Anne, is kind of approached by Mary, who then kind of tells her, I can help you. I can help you control your powers and cover up your parents' murder. So she goes along with that, and she goes to court, and she plays the little innocent victim. She's lost her parents and everything, and does exactly what Mary tells her. In the process of this, so the Mercy Lewis is still hanging around in the woods. She's hanging around dead people, and her teenage female followers are copying her, doing whatever she says. They're being fake witches, pretty much. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They're being crazy, is what they're doing. And she does not like Mary. She wants to be Mary. So she cannot stand Mary because she wants to be Mary. She wants to get rid of her and become Mary. Achieve that position. Attain that status. So she eventually goes to these three witches who kind of tell Mary what to do, because these witches, the whole point of them being in Salem is to fulfill their quest, which is the Grand Rite, which we really don't know a whole lot about yet. So either that or I missed it, but we don't really know a whole lot about it, I don't think. So these three elder witches tell Mary what to do. So this Mercy Lewis, this girl who was possessed, who wants to become a witch, goes to these elder witches, and she's like, pretty much, what can I do to stop Mary or whatever? Because Mary hasn't really followed the orders of the elderly witches. She has disobeyed them. She's gone to see John Alden, and they said, you know what, do not go. So when John Alden returned, remember, the witches tell Mary, stay away from John Alden. He is a distraction. You have to fulfill the Grand Rite. Stay away from John Alden. He's going to be distracting. She ignored him. She went to see John Alden. So, when Mercy goes to see these witches, she's like, what can I do to become like Mary, and get rid of her, pretty much. But these witches are like, Mary doesn't really have any power. We're the ones who have power over her. We're the ones who say what goes and pretty much dictate what happens. And so, and they pretty much tell Mercy, like, and by the way, who are you? Like, get out of here. You're a joke. Go back to the Valley of the Dead and, do whatever the hell you do. Do whatever it is that you do in the forest. Stay there. Whatever. Just don't, just get out of here. What do you want? So the one witch the elder witch ends up spitting on Mercy, and Mercy's like, that was a mistake. So she calls out her little teenage female followers to come out of the darkness in the forest and pretty much jump these witches, these elder witches, and kill them to death. And so during this, in this episode, we find out that Mary's son is actually not dead, and that these witches had her this whole entire time. So Mary's now finally reunited with her son, who she thought was dead because, when she was pregnant and she became a witch, she thought she lost the baby. He ends up being born, and he ended up, I guess, being born, and he's like 10 years old from what it looks like. And so time has passed, and she's just happy to see him, kind of, but the witches don't allow her to see him that often because, again, it's a distraction. But they let her see him occasionally, a couple of hours a day maybe. And eventually, when this Mercy Lewis goes to kill these witches, we are taken to the scene where Mary is sitting on the bed with the child, and the child just falls unconscious, and we learn that, well, we assume that this child cannot survive if those witches are dead. So I'm assuming, now they didn't show it, but I think her child died. Her son died, maybe. And so we don't know. That's how the episode ends, pretty much. So, yeah, that's pretty much how it ends. Next Sunday looked pretty good. The trailer looked pretty good. I'm definitely gonna watch it, and I hope you guys catch up on Salem Season 1. It's a pretty decent show. It's not a great show, but it's a pretty decent show. If you like fantasy TV series, like Game of Thrones, Legend of the Seeker, stuff like that, you might like this. You might. It's kind of like a horror drama fantasy. So if this is something that you may want to watch, catch up on Season 1. I don't think there's that many episodes in Season 1, and Season 2 just started, and there's going to be another episode next week, next Sunday. What is it going to be? April 11th at 10 o'clock. And I will also be doing a review for that one. So, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.